Hello and welcome to the theElpyDimension. I am Elpy, your guide. And I just realized that in the last video I just recorded for the European Nightcrawler bin number 2 that I never did share. This is a 2-gallon bucket and it's about 3/4 of the way full of castings that I got out from the second side of this bin. So that's a good 15 pounds at least of castings that I have. Yay! All right, and in this video, we're going to move on to let's do the red wiggler bin. The neighbor. All right, so this is what I call the red wiggler bin. This bin has also been sort of a mixed bag, and by that I don't mean, oh yeah, that is a centipede, a house centipede. They probably eat worms. I think I usually kill them in here. I don't kill every bug in my house automatically, but in these cases I do. I don't kill the spiders that are in here. They're cellar spiders. They actually eat other spiders, and generally I don't kill them. But that guy, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay, so red wiggler bin. This was I acquired red wigglers from my partner. So this did start, as far as I was aware, with only red wigglers. I've not harvested from this bin in a long time. It's been kind of messed up from too wet to another bin that I think the population has suffered. It used to be good, but it has suffered. You see so far this material, there's all big stuff on top that I often find dry, and that's not new. And it's not terrible as long as the worms have, as long as it's not like that farther down, which, you know, for the first couple of inches, it's a little bit drier than I would like to see. We've yet to find, this is the top part of a pineapple. We've yet to find any worms, which is bothersome to me. Dare I say concerning. I think I had cantaloupe rinds. Here's some worms in this pocket where it's more moist. Quite a few. They're all small. Oh, I did not make sure that my glove didn't... See, I'm not too worried about the worms mixing. Well, I'm not worried at all. I mean, it'd be fun to really be able to say, oh, this is the red wiggler bin, this is a European Nightcrawler bin, and they perform. The nerd in me is like, oh, it'd be cool to be able to say who performs better, but the truth is, having a mixed population means that they each get to exercise their own individual strengths. And anywho, so all we know so far is that they aren't all dead in here. And again, I won't be harvesting out of this bin, although it would appear I should be. I think actually the last time I made a video I said that I was going to start dividing this bin and only feeding on one side. Yeah, the castings look good, but the population is crap. Yeah, I do need to separate here. Start feeding on one side in preparation. I think I was supposed to do that before. We're coming across more worms, which I know I fed over here. In preparation for harvest. I keep coming down here when I'm like, we got to get rid of these food scraps. Let's just quick feed the worms. And then I get down here and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It never goes quick anyways. Okay. So I'm going to continue to feed on this side, even though it's been weeks. It's been a while that I have only feeding on this side, since I'm not prepared to actually harvest this bin, or even, this is just a piece of wood that I keep in there because why not? I'm still highly discouraged that I'm holding out hope, because with this much material, this big of a bin, I would hope to find, see now this bothers me, because this is a popcorn cup that I give to my birds. I buy from a place that touts. So unless this is some sort of natural liner, which it does not appear to be, then I shouldn't be giving this to my birds. Looks a lot like plastic, doesn't it? That's, yeah, that stinks. Well, not like literally stinks, but anyways, part of me says leave it in there and see if it breaks down. Maybe it's a natural plastic. Come on. This stuff that you see, these are from disposable gloves that are more disposable than they are gloves. They said that they're biodegradable, and they're more biodegradable than anything else. I do not recommend them. Even if you're like, oh, it'd just be cool to have biodegradable gloves. No, they're horrible. Yeah. Okay. So if those, like, anyways. So here is the real, this is bad. I swear last time I was in here, I had much better results. So this would suggest that I know I'm already thinking negatively, and I haven't, but look how small this, all of this material I've dug through, and I found a very small amount of worms. So even if all the worms are here, there's not, it still isn't, still doesn't bode well for the overall population of a bin this size. I've been doing this for 5 years, and while I'm definitely not a professional and I follow no rules, I know what a healthy bin looks like. One of these bins, I've got 4 of them. I've had 2. For sure I've had 2 for 5 years, so I know that this should be better. So you see we got some worms there. Again, they're really small. And we got a little cluster of worms here. Looks like a real nice cluster. Typically something that any worm farmer would be happy to see, which I am. But again, this is not, I should be seeing way more worms than that, especially after a melon feeding. And yet there continue to be more. And that's a lot. You know, here's a lot of worms. But they're also really small. Is it the mites in my bin? It really sounds like something dripping. Is it the mites in my bin? I mean, here's an avocado that the worms typically love. And there's a ton of mites. But I've always had mites. I'm going to take this avocado. That's going to go to my outside bin. So I've always had mites, but I've had better populations, worm populations than this. Maybe it's worse than I think. Maybe I'm neglecting the worms too much, and then I'm feeding them too much at once. That's very possible. But this population is not. They're small, just like the European Nightcrawler bin. They're small. They're not adult worms, which means the adults died off. So that makes 2 bins that are less than swell. Could take this opportunity and say I'm going to start all over. But instead I'm just going to do a feeding and hope that this trend does not continue as I move on to the other bins. Okay, so we got some old corn, a half of a old lime, put some of the powder mix down, some torn up grocery store paper, a cardboard egg carton, and then I've got some old funky cherries, a bunch of old funky cherries. Super funky. I'm going to hurry up and cover them. That mold isn't bad for the worms, but it's not good for me. So when I feel the need, I wear a mask, or I at least hold my breath and cover my face with a shirt. And in this case, I held my breath and stayed away and hurried up and covered it. So that's a compostable hairbrush box. And I've got wet shredded papers. And I'm going to go ahead and cover this. Oh, shit. I forgot that I had piled all the worms up in one corner. So distracted by the fact that they are not, their population is not in a good size. Forgot what I was actually doing. That'll be fine. So yeah, I'm going to cover them. These guys I'm going to cover all the way up with the old material. Now what I did on the other side, I didn't cover it up because I started fresh. But typically when I feed, I will cover up the feeding area with the old material. And since this was a little on the dry side, not super dry, a little on the dry side, I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle some water. I'll lightly dump. Okay. Now, some of you might not like that I did that. Some of you worm folks. But I did it, and it was necessary. And the bin will be better for it. Alright, so that is the end of today's check-in and feeding of the red wiggler bin. Come back. I feel like I need to be way more accountable, especially making a video, but even more so seeing that my populations are suffering. Let's go ahead and alright, I'm separating these videos. Instead of doing all 4 worm bins. I guess I'll just see, because easily we're looking at 45 minutes if I do all 4 bins at the same time. So I'll do a different bin. In the next video, this is my first mixed worm bin. And this has been my most consistent. I've had ups and downs, but I'd say that it's been a pretty good bin more than not. This looks like a worm crawled up here and died. It's not unusual for them to crawl and dry and die, but I've not had any mass migrations. So join me in the next video for the mixed worm bin. And see, I used to call this the blue bin. But yeah, so join me in the next video. Thanks for joining me in this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. I would definitely appreciate it. It helps the channel and all that fun stuff. So anywho, thank you for visiting the theElpyDimension, and check back for the mixed worm bin video. All right, thank you. Be well, stay safe. Bye for now.